What is going on, garden fans? Welcome back to the Permaculture Homestead. It is time for the weekly food forest walkabout, and I'm going to go ahead and give you the full tour here today. It is June 2019. We are in Zone 8, South Carolina, and we are just hitting now the beginning of summer. So a lot of the veggies are starting to put on fruit, and a lot of the perennials are also fruiting for us. Here on the back of on the very back door here, first thing you see is Goji Berry. And Goji Berry are flowering and fruiting for us, and they will continue to flower and fruit for us up until we get our first frost. So it's very easy for me to come out here, snatch a couple of these as a snack, and chew down on them. There's a lot more lycopene in these things than tomatoes. A welcome companion plant that I didn't have to do anything for is actually been Lambsquarters. And I can't keep up eating this. They grow faster than what you can eat. It's a great survival food if you ever needed one. Lambsquarters, go check it out. We also have garden sage still kicking here, and I've peppered in a few veggies into this perennial food forest. We've got things like basil and squash growing. There's a mint understory. Here's some more basil. And then there's green beans vining around. Of course, I've got my perennial collards. I call them perennial because they literally are cut and come again for me. I continue to cut and prune, and they keep coming back. We're just starting to show a little signs of some summer pest damage, but that's no problem here. This one, tansy. This is an inedible herb. I grow it because I like the flower. It's got a nice button yellow flower here that we're going to start poking out in just a couple days. Moving along. As I said, collards, brassicas, they continue to grow for us. This is a perennial food. I eat these things all the time throughout the year. I've just had some blood work done, so believe it or not, yes, eating greens consistently will lower your blood pressure. I've got proof on that one. This is a pineapple guava, going great. Right behind it, a muscadine hedge that is trying to take over here. This is like the battle of the invasives. Here's an autumn olive, and it's fighting with this muscadine. So we'll see which invasive plant wins. This right here, sweet gem apricot. Pruned it up last year. It's over 6 feet tall. We're talking 7, 8 feet tall now. Very healthy, very happy. We've got our spring flush of raspberries. Hadn't been harvesting raspberries for a while. So it's time for me to come through here, do some maintenance, prune down some of the old canes, and let the new canes that are coming up for fall kind of take charge here. A lot of the companion planted flowers. This is rose campion. They've come, they've flowered, and now they're putting out seed heads. They're spent. This is one that I'm just going to let go to seed, and I'll come and chop and drop, and most of this is mulch for the raspberries. We had a good amount of rain here the last week. This is 900 gallons of water storage. When the rain started, we had 0 gallons. We stored 900 gallons. During the rainstorm, I emptied out 2 of the jugs. We emptied out 600 gallons of water into the landscape, and then those 2 jugs filled right back up. So we've gone through some water. I'm using water. I continue to use gravity-fed drip irrigation into my swales here in the food forest, and this has been the best way to keep this place looking as lush and green as it does right now, even though we're getting 90-degree temperatures and searing heat throughout the day here in South Carolina. This is a pretty wide shot. You can get a good idea of the swale patties we got here. I got patty 1 and swale patty 2. Elderberry hedge. These are pawpaw patches starting to grow up, and underneath my pawpaws this year is where I'm doing my vegetable gardening. And as I said, the rain came and really perked everything back up. We're starting to get a good amount of squash coming on. These are Acorn Squash, and they are setting fruit just fine. I have Zucchini Squash out here too that should be starting to flower and set some zucchini out here soon. We have green beans. These things are flowering and putting on some big beans. Here we go. Here's a big snake bean here. And then there's things like basil in here and peppers. There's comfrey right underneath it. Here's some basil, marigold, peppers. And believe it or not, the peppers, the basil, the marigold, they like the shade. being provided to them in this little food forest. That's why they're thriving right now, even in the hottest part of our year. The peaches that I pruned down, they're starting to shrub out, and this is what they're going to look like the rest of their life here on my food forest. I'm going to continually top them and just keep them about 6 feet tall. This is a good height for me for peaches. I want to let the pawpaws and the fig right here next to it kind of be a more dominant overstory species. This is a black mission fig, which, by the way, has yet to fruit for me in the 3 years I've had it here. Now it's really healthy, it's getting really tall and big. I do prune it a lot, but this one has yet to produce fruit for me. I have a brown turkey fig further in the back, you'll see in just a minute, that loads us down with fruit every year. So here in the middle of the food forest, we've got blackberry canes on the swale patties, and then of course the trees going on down. Another tree species I got it here is jujube. This is another one that has not fruited for me yet. Oh, I lied. First year fruit for this jujube. This is a lead jujube. If I had a pollinator here, a laying jujube, this would put on a lot more fruit. It is self-fertile, however, having a cross-pollination really helps. So the one I had died. I am gonna have to be a good gardener next spring and plant another jujube so that they can mate. That's right, plants are gonna go do it. We have mulberries growing super tall, and I'm gonna have to pick through this mulberry here and pick the stalk, the stem, that is the right mulberry that I want to be growing. I had a mulberry here, it was a Pakistani, it had died, and I think I've got one coming out. The other three are coming from probably the rootstock. I'm gonna have to really dig deep in there to see which one of these is coming from the rootstock and which one of these is actually coming from the Pakistani mulberry. This bay leaf, the Towerton Bay bush, surviving in the heat of South Carolina. As this place matures, garden fans, you can see there's a lot of little canopy space in here. There's a lot of microclimates going on with this higher canopy forming. I do have a peach tree here that I have yet to prune down. Sure, yeah, it's putting on peaches, but most of them are going to be oriental fruit moth eaten, possibly. We'll see. This is another peach tree that I'm going to end up pruning down though. Even though it's setting some fruit here, it always gets bug eaten early in the spring. Last thing I want to show you, garden fans, is what's going on out back. Like I was saying, I got a fig back here that is producing heavily. We have been harvesting plums and eating them. The next one up is going to be figs. I've been keeping this guy hydrated. We've got, from the rains, I've stored up a bunch of water to keep this hydrated and wet. So this fig will certainly be happy here as it's fruiting out. Chickens are still doing chicken things. Love my chickens. They're doing a great job fertilizing, keeping this place clean. Eventually, once all the veggies in the food forest have been spent, I'm gonna let them roll through here, and they're gonna do a good job of cleaning and weeding and setting it up so that I can do some maintenance on the perennials come fall. Anyway, garden fans, this food forest is jam-packed full of food. There are herbs everywhere as ground covers. Things like catmint and regular mint, apple mint are starting to become the dominant ground cover species, and that's what I want. Things like lemon balm and clover are starting to take over, which once again, this is what I want. I do let some native weeds grow, like goldenrod. Goldenrod is a great late pollen source for bees. And it's doing a good job mulching. This is a living mulch I got going on here amongst all this diversity. 2 pawpaws and a Goji Berry. I want to thank you all for watching. As always, garden fans, this channel grows with you. You help us grow. Beauty berry, Mexican beauty berry. This is going to put on quite a bit for us this year. We can't do this without you, and I thank you all for your continual support, for watching. Appreciate that you all like this little food forest. I really encourage you to go check out Lacklaire's Permaculture Project site. It's a much bigger farm than this and has a lot more diversity. And in another couple years, it's gonna look just like this. Thank you all. As always, please like, share, and subscribe. That really helps us out. God bless.